All right. Music Matters. Today here with Flight Club. How you doing, man? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too, man. Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate it. I appreciate you reaching out. I appreciate you reaching out. You came in here rocking the chrome like jacket with the designs. That shit's sick. How you doing, man?
Appreciate
How's
it.
your morning been going?
All good, man. I actually had a few calls early in the morning, so sorry if I sound a little sleepy.
I've
But
been there. I've
apart
been
from
there.
that, just went on a run with my dog and all ready to do this.
Oh, really? What kind of, are you like a big runner?
I'm not really. I just started running.
Oh, okay, that's sick. Yeah, it's like my favorite thing in the world. I just ask because I'm a distance runner, so it's like I love running.
I've been like getting into it, man. Like,
Hmm.
so like I'm at this Airbnb out in the suburbs in Anaheim, which is like not what I'm used to because I stay in Hollywood, and like there's like so much space out here that me and my dog just started going for runs out here instead. And honestly, it just makes me feel awesome, dude. So I think I'm gonna keep this up.
Yeah, the runner's high is like the best thing
Uh huh.
ever. It's like finishing. Whenever I finish running, I just feel like a million times better than when I started. It's literally the
Oh,
best thing
100%.
ever. Why are
100%.
you so you're from LA, right?
I'm actually from a city called Pune in India. It's like
Oh.
southwest of India, and but I've been in LA for like 5 years now,
Oh
more or
wow,
less.
okay. So did you move out there to pursue music?
Yeah.
Wow, what was that experience like? Did you have like any experience having like culture shock? Because I'd imagine like from India to LA is like a very, very different environment.
Definitely like I mean, so I knew this is what I wanted to do for quite a while back in India. And the kind of music that I do make wasn't suited to the audience that's back home.
Hmm.
And so I guess there was cultural shock, but since everyone in LA is pursuing either music or some form of creative endeavors, it's kind of like it was easy to fit into it and like take it on from there. But it's been awesome, dude, since I moved to LA. Vibe's been good, a lot of opportunities. People I meet are awesome.
That's how I feel every time I'm out there. Like it's like I feel like every person I meet out there is like it's almost like a city of like immigrants that are coming from different places, different countries, different
Mhm.
states to like all do the same thing. They're all coming to like do either music or art or film or videography or something, some creative endeavor. So it's always weird to me like meeting those kind of people because like on one hand it's cool. Like on one hand I love it because it's like, oh, everybody here is here for like a somewhat like-minded reason. But on the other hand, I sometimes feel like I've met people out there that I feel I've just immediately felt like no like real connection to. Like I've met people in LA where I'm just like I feel like they're just talking to me because like it's like a networking opportunity opposed to like making a real
That's
friend.
what LA is, man. Like who's real, who's fake. I guess it doesn't matter at this point. You're just like all in into getting somewhere, and like you're kind of the same way as literally everybody else here too. So it's crazy. Your neighbor might be a videographer or a model or something, but in the end, you just kind of use each other in a positive way to
Mhm.
make your way to where you want to go.
Have you had like weird experiences like that, like running into people in LA? Because I was out in LA last week
Yeah.
and I was seeing a movie and I just like Steve Lacy just walked by me and I was like, wow. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, I was working at a Warner Brothers studio in 2018, so I had like all these celebrities that are signed to the label come in and record there. So I came across like Nicki Minaj, Jason Derulo,
Wow.
Ty Dolla Sign, Offset from the Migos, and like these guys used to 21 Savage, who was really cool. But these guys used to just like be there and record, so I'm kind of like used to seeing these people.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting there for me.
Were you engineering there or interning? What were you doing? How'd you get that job?
I was assistant to the engineer there, Ben.
Oh, okay.
Back again, this is like 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
But something happened where I guess a bunch of jewelry was stolen from the studio, and so they had to, yeah, there's like $500,000 worth of jewelry, and so they had to like apparently fire everybody from there.
What the hell? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean the place had no security, like literally like anybody could walk in. I had like a bunch of like girls and shit following me in there, like No one checked nothing, so I'm not too shocked.
How did they not? I just could never imagine a studio like that having absolutely zero security. That's like
It, wa-
crazy to
it
me.
was it was the best vibes, dude. You could get whoever
Really?
you wanted. Yeah, there's like endless. There's like bunch of weed, a bunch of alcohol for everybody, endless food. There's like pool. It was always a party in there. That's how these guys try to like make music,
Yeah.
and it kind of translates into their music too. Like that's the vibe they pull off.
Do you like, is that a way you like to record, like kind of having as much fun as possible, or are you somebody who locks in more and it's like I got to be like serious, full business?
Both actually. I mean,
Mm.
I like to make music when I'm alone. So like my ideal setup is my home studio. So like I'm like traveling. I'm in an Airbnb right now, but I do have I have my mic here. I got my speakers, and I always travel with them because that's how I like to make music. So it's
Mhm.
never like, oh, let me go into the studio and feel it out. I'm just like, I like being alone, getting into that headspace and seeing what I come up with.
Is most of your stuff self-produced?
Yeah, everything from start till the end is all me. So like I write it, perform
Okay.
it, mix, master, the whole deal.
Looking through your stuff and like your Instagram and everything, like it seemed to me like a lot of your stuff mixes like electronic production along with like organic instrumentals. Are you
Mhm.
somebody who like brings instruments everywhere you go just in case you want to like record a sample or anything?
Yeah, got my guitar right here.
That's
There's the
sick.
bass. I literally carry my whole setup. There's like more instruments with me than clothes when I'm traveling.
That's
So
funny. What do you play?
I'm always prepared. I play everything like keys, drums, bass, guitar. I sing.
How'd you start? Like what was the
I
first thing you
started
learned?
I started with guitar back
Okay.
in India. So like back in when high school just started for me, I got like super into guitar. I used to be like locked into my room, noodling on the guitar, and like within a year, I knew that music is what I wanted to do, and I
Oh
wanted
wow.
to go to well LA and pursue it, but I had to stay back and finish high school and shit.
Was there like an instant connection you had to like the guitar? Because I felt like that when I started playing the drums. Like I just like immediately like just felt a connection. Like it was almost instant.
I mean, I got into music because of I got like all my inspiration statted on me. So there's
Oh
like
whoa.
Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. I was like super into the classic rock uh, legends, and I got like super heavy into the music before I even got into guitar. And I just kind of wanted to be like them, and I just kept working my ass off towards like mastering the guitar. And then like later on is when I got into like electronic music with the whole house scene popping up, and then of course the trap. I kept evolving, basically as music evolved, and I tried like combining everything that I learned from all these different people and coming up with a sound that I could call my own.
That's like a super cool and like more modern thing I find is like people who make music that tends to like trend to a pop or a hip hop type lane. A lot of them grew up on like classic rock or like
Hmm.
they're like indie or like punk or whatever. But it's just cool to see those two worlds like colliding.
Definitely, dude. That's my favorite part of music, where it's like, I mean, no one's 100% original, but they're inspired by all these different people in different ways, and then they just combine it and make something that's their own way to express it. And I
That's
think
what I
that's my
love.
favorite part of music. Yeah, dude, 100%.
And I feel like a lot of people like to act like, oh, if you take some kind of creative influence from somebody, you're automatically unoriginal. But it's like people need to realize that like creativity does not happen in a vacuum. Like
Yeah,
everything is inspired by something else. Everything.
definitely. At this point, no one's 100%. No one's even like a 50% original.
Yeah, literally.
Everything's been literally like done before. You're just like expressing it in your own way.
Led Zeppelin ripped off like 50% of their riffs from like blues and
Yeah,
soul artists. Like if
and made them like a million times better.
yeah. So if we're gonna call that copying, I mean like they literally, yeah, it's not really copying, you know what I mean? So do you being like a multi-instrumentalist, if you could go back and like do it over again, would you start on something else? Because I always find that like I wish because I'm just now getting into playing piano and I wish like I'd learned to play keys before I learned to play anything else because I feel like it
Mhm.
progresses into every other instrument so much easier because of the theory aspect.
I love the guitar so much that I could never even think of like, oh, I wish I went back and learned this instead. But I did try learning keys, and I can play like chords. I can play like keys enough to where I can make songs that I want to make. But I'm again not crazy like like how some of my friends play them. But like it works out for me, man. Like I love that I started with the guitar, and that's still my primary instrument, and I write most of my songs with it.
Do you play like a certain style of guitar? Like, are you more of like a rock guitarist, or do you play more of like pop guitar, or do you kind of just play whatever?
Whatever. That's
Yeah.
my whole music philosophy is that like whatever comes. Like I'm literally gonna make a country song one day, even with like my vocals, my writing, my production. It's gonna be like country, then it's gonna be like rap, and it's gonna be like rock, metal. Like I'm literally just always playing around.
I like that, and it certainly comes across in your music. Like I find like your
Mhm.
music is very like it trends in a lot of different genres. Like some of your tracks like sound a bit more hip hop, whereas some of them sound a bit more rock and like singer songwriter stuff. And there's even the some like I can't remember the name of the song, but there was a song that you did an acoustic version of, and I was like, oh, the vocals on this song sound like very much like singer songwriter. Like this doesn't sound like any. There's no hip hop in this to me. You know, do you
Mhm.
struggle with being like anybody trying to like label you or hold you down
Yeah,
genre wise and be
all
tied
the
down?
time, literally all the time. It's like, oh, what are you? I'm like, I'm whatever I want to be this week or like this day or this night. And it's like, oh, but you gotta be somewhere, otherwise you're nowhere. You gotta fit in someplace. I'm like, no, then there's no point of making music for me if I have to. Because
Mm.
literally I'm never in the same headspace even the day after. So like I'm gonna be making something R&B right now, and then tomorrow I'm gonna feel angry about something and I want to write like a heavy riff or something. I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah,
Like
and I
people
think
are
like
always like people are always like in this box where it's like the algorithms, the audiences. You gotta find your audience. You gotta find a certain algorithm to promote you to a certain audience, and it's like, then what's the fun in that?
I also think like allowing yourself to have that creative freedom to kind of experiment in any way musically that you want to, that's what keeps it interesting. Like kind of what you said, like what's the point if you
Mm-hmm.
are making what other people want you to make and you're no longer making what you want to make? At that point, what are you doing? Like what are you doing it for?
Exactly. And I mean like so some of these people like the weekend have has like evolved so much from like his early to like his trap era and now to the 80s era. But so what they do is like they have like albums releasing with like a certain sound and then they evolve with it. But for me, like I don't have the attention span to like make a whole ass album on one certain kind of sound and then move on. I just like I gotta keep going, man. Like what's today, tomorrow, I keep going.
Yeah, that's interesting. Did you grow up on like classic rock mostly,
Mhm.
or was there any other genres you kind of grew up on?
Just classic rock.
That's
I
really
didn't.
cool.
Yeah, I literally didn't listen to anything else until the EDM scene blew up in India with like
Okay.
Hardwell, Avicii, like the literal dance music scene. It
That's
was like
interesting. Tell me about that a little bit, because I wasn't aware that dance music and EDM was so huge in India. There was like a gigantic
oh yeah,
electronic music movement.
yeah, huge, huge. Like all the DJs toured. That's all anyone was playing. The whole like drop,
Huh.
the whole concept of having a drop, a build up, and all that stuff. Raving got pretty big in India, and so I became a DJ at one point just because like that's what I like doing, like I'm interested in
Mhm.
this, I'm gonna go all the way in. So I started DJing. I DJed for a couple of years. I won a few competitions there too, and then I got bored of it and I was like, okay, what now? So then this whole trap scene blew up, the whole modern rap scene with Future, Migos, and all this stuff with the heavy auto tune and everything. So I started experimenting in that, and then I started just combining everything and just looking for ways to keep it interesting.
Hmm. That's crazy that like EDM got that big in India. I had no
Mhm.
idea it was like that. So how old were you when
Even rap's like super big right now.
okay. How old were you when all that started popping off?
2012, I would say like start of high school.
Okay, so it was like really like that was like what you were listening to in high school.
Yeah, in the
That's
start
interesting.
for
How
sure.
did you first get into DJing? Like, do you remember like how you originally got interested in it?
So I started producing music. I started listening to Skrillex back in the. Do you listen to Skrillex back in like the Scary Monsters and Nice
Oh
Price
yeah.
days
Oh yeah.
when like he was like peaking? That was like peak Skrillex for me, and I was
Oh
like, yo,
yeah.
this is some wild ass music, and
Mhm.
I gotta know how I can make this. And so I got like Ableton. I started like messing around on it, watching like millions of YouTube tutorials, and then I started getting into house music because that scene started popping. And I saw the kind of response that the audience had towards house music, and I was like, "Yo, I need to, I know, I want to play this live. I want to play my own house music too." So I gotta get into DJing. And my friend had like I actually started on virtual DJ. It's like the software
I've
on
heard
a
of this.
Mac. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like everybody uses it at some point, and that's how kind of like that's what like taught me the whole concept of mixing songs on a DJ console. And then my friend had one, so I used to go to his place and like mess around on it, and I just kept evolving from there.
Do you do it at all anymore? Or are you pretty much just like making your own stuff now?
I'm just making my own stuff now.
Yeah, that's an interesting progression. I feel like a lot of DJs end up like, like, cause I don't know, like, no shade to DJs out there, but I do feel like, uh, I feel like for a lot of people, eventually, like mixing other people's songs and remixing other people's songs would get to the point where you're like, I just want to do this myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, once and plus once you learn how to like write music and sing, to be honest, you don't really need anyone else.
hmm Did you ever DJ in LA, or were you just doing that in India?
Just in India, I got bored of DJing. 2 years, that's all I could handle.
That makes sense. Yeah, there's a pretty crazy like underground like electronic music scene in LA. Like there's like I've been to some warehouse shows and stuff out there that are all pretty wild. Like it's pretty and like
Hmm.
it's a whole different like scene and era than like I'm used to. So when I've been to like DJ shows out there, it's kind of blown my mind.
Yeah, the rave scene here is insane. Like those are my favorite concerts to like go to. I'm not like into watching rap concerts live, which is like all that takes place here.
hmm
But the rave scene is insane because whoa, like the DJ is on a whole different level, the bass is on a different level, and people are just going crazy around me. So yeah, raves are my favorite concerts to go to here.
When you moved out to LA, did you know anybody out there, or did you just kind of go out on a whim by yourself?
No, nobody. But I went to college
Wow.
here. I actually initially joined a music college here, so I met like a bunch of friends like right off the bat.
But that must be crazy. That's like a bit of a shot in the dark. Was that like a scary thing to do?
Nah, I was so excited.
Oh
I was
wow.
literally waiting for it since high school. I didn't even want to finish high school, but my parents said that you gotta get a diploma at least high school graduation. I was like, fine, I'll complete it. So I spent like 3 years just waiting to get the hell out of there. And then once I came here, I was just like super psyched, like keep hustling, see what I could make of myself here.
Yeah, I feel like the hustle mentality in LA is a whole different beast. I feel like when you're there, it's very motivating to work because everybody around you is working.
Yeah, like that's the best part of LA. Like I don't know who's how real or not, but everyone's like hustling to their extremes. And it's like everyone has huge dreams here and you're all literally waking up every day to try and fulfill them or take one step closer towards it.
Yeah, and it's like even if you don't get there, you're trying.
Yeah.
At least you're somewhere people are trying, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So you got a new track out, Quaalude. I want to ask you about the title of the song. Why did you choose to like name it after that psychedelic? Like what inspired you to title it that?
So we wrote the song during the pandemic. It's like 2020, like April or something. And the song had like this super sluggish vibe. And it has like we put in this element where it's like a ticking clock sound that's like slightly off the actual rhythmic beat. And it felt like the song flows in one certain time frame and then there's a sticking sound that's in a whole different time. So it's like two flows of time
Wow.
happening at the same time. And I was like, I guess that's what a quail dude would feel like. And like, oh, let's just call the song that.
Yeah. Because it has that like psychedelic feel to it.
Uh-huh.
I gotta ask you, man, like when naming a song that, have you ever like experimented with psychedelics or anything?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I love psychedelics too. I mean, Quaalude's technically not a psychedelic, and even if I wanted to try it, I don't know if I could get my hands on them. They
mm-hmm,
stopped producing it like a while back. At least
mm.
that's what I learned from Wolf of Wall Street movie. But I love psychedelics too, like mushrooms, acid. I've tried DMT once. Was pretty wild. I don't know if I like it or not, but
What was that experience like?
it wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was just overwhelming.
Oh, that would make sense. Have you ever
Like too
experienced
much.
anything like ego death or like any like profound realizations while in psychedelics?
So each time I go into a psychedelic journey, I'm never like, oh, let me figure out the meaning of life or anything. I just want to like take an inspiration, and then once I'm off it, see if I can come up with something creatively from what I learned. So
Mm-hmm.
it's I never like even aim for the whole meaning of life realization or like ego death kind of thing. I'm real without it and I'm real on it. I'm literally the same. It's
I
just
like
my
that.
senses are heightened and everything feels awesome. I could like look deeper into everything.
So you don't go in with like an intention when you're going to your trip.
No,
Do you think
I
that
mean,
shit's like overblown? Because some people like it's interesting they look different perspectives on that because some people think it's like the most profound thing ever, and then I've heard other people who are like, oh no, it's dumb. Like, where do you stand on that?
I mean, I use it as a tool, as I said, to come up with inspiration for music, for any form of ideas, for anything. I take down notes when I think of something cool while I'm
Hmm.
on it. But that's the only thing that I go in with. There's like, of course, like super spiritual people who actually do get realizations and stuff out of it. How true they are, how false they are, how pretentious any of it is. It's to each their own, I guess. I'm not judging anyone, but to me, it's just another tool in the box to use for inspiration.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are there other things that you like turn to when you're uninspired or need inspiration? Like, are you somebody who like is into film or like watching movies or anything, or
Oh
like
yeah,
what kinds of stuff gives you inspiration?
I love horror movies. I'm always
That's
watching
awesome.
the bad ones, the good ones, the mediocre ones. I've seen them all. And like that comes down to my music and my music video ideas too. So like for the music video of Quaalude,
Uh-huh.
when we were writing the whole song, like the song structure and the concept was there, but I could see this picture in my head where it's like, I'm trying to like pursue this girl, and she takes me back to her place, and then the next thing I know, I'm blacked out, and I wake up, and she turns out to be a cult Satanist and wants to sacrifice me, and I'm like exploring the house, and she basically evolves from being a hot ass chick to a, a witch. So I was like, yo, I want to make this happen. I want to make like this whole thing come through in the video too.
Yeah. So
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 the whole
that song always had like you always had the idea for a video when you were making
yeah.
that song. That's sick.
When anytime I make a song, I listen to it again and again, and I do have some sort of like a visual idea to go behind it.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of do I have the budget and the resources to make this happen or not?
That's becoming like a more and more important thing in the age of social media. Like having a good visual to your track is almost as
Mhm.
important as the track itself. Like, do you like almost always like try to do a song for your videos, or are there certain songs you come up with where you're like, I don't know if this one needs a video?
Nah, every song has to have a video. So stuff's changed so much since I moved here. Like just in
Hmm.
terms of marketing, of course, the whole song and creation process is always at the top, but marketing has evolved so much at this point, where it's like you gotta have a great song. It has to have a video, so you can create some sort of a brand identity for yourself, and of course to creatively put your vision for the song out there. But then there's also like pitching to playlists, pitching to blogs, podcasts. Then TikTok's literally taken over the world right now. So once you're done with all this stuff, you gotta literally make 3 small videos doing literally stupid shit to your song every day and put it out there. And you don't have a choice. You can
You're
either
right.
get lucky without it, or you gotta like play the game to win it.
You're right. And I think people who don't realize they don't have a choice are I don't want to say ignorant, but they are blind. Like they are like they are consciously choosing to not do something that's going to make them successful, most likely.
Definitely
And
do.
it's
I
and
mean,
it's
it does suck that you gotta do all this stuff. I mean,
yeah, but you
you're
just
quite a
do.
serious musician. You're spending literally hours on your craft trying to put it out there, but at the end of it, you gotta do a stupid dance or a trend to your song and hope it goes viral on TikTok for it to literally blow up. And like it could happen without it. You could get lucky. You could find someone who helps you out, or you could
Yeah.
be blow up through somewhere else. But up until that happens, just gotta get on everything.
I'm a person, honestly, I have no sympathy for those people if I'm being frank with you, because I've always been of the creed that you should adapt or die. Like
Mhm.
not
Definitely.
literally, but it's obviously not literally, but it's like
Mhm.
adapt or die. Like if you want to be successful in something, you really have to be at like the cutting edge of whatever it
All
is.
in.
And I've
Yeah.
come to realize that like with my media company, it's like for the longest time I was hesitant to do TikTok. I was hesitant to do all kinds of things. I was even hesitant to start interviewing people, but it's like I
Mhm.
did, and it's become like the biggest part of the brand. And it's like, and it's very important to like It's you can't just act like these trends don't exist. You have
Mhm.
to be at the forefront of what's next if you want to be successful and you want to be the greatest in your field. If you look at somebody like I'm obsessed with Steve Jobs. He's one of my biggest inspirations. If you look at Steve
Mine
Jobs,
too.
like what he said his entire career, his one of his main philosophies in terms of engineering was that he hated buttons. And
Mhm.
look where we are now.
Yeah.
The phone has no button, and if you have a button, if you have a phone with a button, it's like is looked at as like an old phone. It's about setting the trend. It's finding what's next, and it's like if
Yep.
you're going to look at TikTok and be like, "Oh, that's like childish, that's dumb," it's like okay, get left behind.
Mhm. Literally got to, as you said, adapt or die.
Yeah, literally
You gotta
adapt
go
or
all in.
die.
You gotta go all in. Do whatever it takes, and of course, keep innovating.
That too, and it's. I think people also act as if like if you do things like TikTok, you're not genuine, but it's like that's such bullshit. Like you just have to balance. Like you can
It's like,
still be
oh,
a
I'm above this. I'm not a little kid doing that. Nah, shut the fuck up.
yeah, exactly. It's like, do you want to be successful? It's like then you
Mhm.
should do this. It's not, yeah, it's dumb. It's people are like, oh, it's kid shit. It's like, yeah, well, these kids are making millions of dollars off their music, and you're doing nothing. So it's like, tell me what's kid shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, did you so the feature on Quaalude, Brant, did you write that song with him, or was he a feature that was added after you already had the track?
I made it with him. Brand's like my best friend. We've known each other for
Your
ever
mic's like
since I moved here.
glitching out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but it's like super robotic.
Gotcha. Let me switch it off and put it on again.
You're good. You're good. I'll cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're chilling. Go ahead.
Wait, you can you hear me or can I?
I can hear you, but it's like incredible. It's like super
Gotcha.
robotic. Like
Gotcha.
it's all like glitchy.
Gotcha. Hold on. Let me restart this.
It just like switched all of a sudden.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect. Sorry. So go ahead. What were you saying? You said you and Brand have been friends since you were like kids.
Nah, he's been my friend ever since I moved to LA.
Hmm.
He moved here like half a year after I did, and we've been like making music ever since. And during the pandemic, there wasn't really much to do, so we are just like chilling at my place, coming up with ideas. All the studios were closed. There was no live shows happening, no stages to film music videos. So we kind of had to like stop everything we were doing. And he was actually in between moving houses too, and him and his dog were staying at my place. They were crashing on my couch, and we would just like smoke weed every day and just come up with a few ideas and see if anything clicked. And Quaalude was just one of them that we liked a lot.
Okay, that's cool.
Mhm.
Living in LA, like, was that like one of the first friends you met? And then how'd you meet him?
He wasn't the first friend I met, but I met him through the college that I came here for, called Musicians Institute. I was there for
Is
like
that like in East LA? Like,
it's in Hollywood, like literally in the
okay,
center, like the
okay, yeah.
center of LA.
Uh-huh.
And it's pretty popular. It's a good college. I was there for like 9 months, and
You dropped out or you didn't like it?
no, I kept so I came there for guitar. I got bored of playing other people's songs, so I shifted to audio engineering, so I could like get better at mixing my own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And once I like learned, once I got what I wanted out of it, I dropped out of that too.
Oh, that's interesting. A lot of people talk about like music school and like whether it's not it's worth it. Do you think you like got a lot out of music school, or do you kind of regret going, or what do you think?
Yeah, I don't regret going. Definitely not. So it's you
Uh-huh.
get to meet a lot of talented musicians. If I want to play a show tonight, I can literally call five of my friends and we can play a show. Like I
Sick.
know a lot of musicians. I actually went to film school too after, so I met a lot
Oh,
of
wow.
people who could help me with my music videos. Dropped out of there
Uh-huh.
too once I got what I wanted. But it's more of an opportunity for networking every day. You can find people who you like, work with them together, I guess. And I guess there's some teachers who are good, but at the end of it, music school gives you all the resources and you kind of gotta like use them and teach yourself and get as good as you can.
Mm.
You're not gonna attend and get better at music just by going there.
Yeah, I think that's a good perspective. A lot of people act like if you just go to music school, you'll just become like a musician. That's
No,
not really how it works.
like
And
I'm
I
not kidding you. Like 90% of the people suck ass. Like
really,
yeah, like literally they're so bad. Like, and I'm not trying to like shame them or anything, but like 90% of people are bad.
that's crazy to
Yeah,
me. That's wild.
it takes money to go to school, not talent.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. That's I've heard it's funny. Like I ask a lot of musicians that. I ask a lot of musicians like who went to music school, like, do you think it was worth it? And 95% of them say it's worth it for the connections. Like it's
Yeah,
I always hear that. I always hear like the
hmm
most important and valuable thing you can get out of music school is the people you meet.
connections, and plus, once I did shift to like audio engineering, I had like studio time like literally every day for hours
Oh
throughout the
wow.
week. So I would just go there, be alone in the studio, learn everything there was in it, learn all about mics, different kinds of guitars, cables, compressors, EQs, and I kept experimenting, making mistakes until I got like super good at it. So it also gives you the resources to get better. But at the end, it comes down to what you make of it.
Yeah, that I guess that could be said for any opportunity, really.
Mhm.
It's like, what can I make of this? Like, is this worth it? It's like if you make it worth it, it is. I feel like that's a lot of opportunities, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I guess with college specifically, it's about balancing what you're paying versus what you're getting. And a lot of people don't
Mhm.
think about it from like a cost benefit analysis perspective.
There's no cost benefit. I can tell you that like right
Really?
off. Yeah. The amount of you're gonna pay to go to school is you're not even gonna make it in the next like 4 years. It's super
Yeah.
expensive, especially if you're trying to go like Berkeley, which is in like Boston. That's like one of the
Hmm.
best music schools ever. That's like that's like 10 times more expensive than the college I went to, and I could barely even afford mine. So I don't
Yeah.
imagine how people do all that.
Especially, I mean, you moving all the way to a new,
Yeah,
entirely new country, I'd imagine it's even that much more expensive.
yeah, it was crazy.
Do you still work with any of the people that you met in music school?
Yeah, so brand, a bunch of them. We're always like playing gigs around in LA.
That's sick.
Someone needs help with like recording, production, or even just like back end vocals. Like we can call each other and get it done.
Uh-huh. So you said you and Brant like worked a lot together during the pandemic. Was it hard to stay motivated at all during the pandemic, or did you just find that you had a lot of time to like hunker down and write a lot of new material?
2020 was actually not that bad for me.
Oh,
I mean,
whoa, it just
except
lowered
for
my chair. Just like lowered my chair. Sorry, go ahead.
no, so 2020 wasn't actually that bad for me. It was, of
Mhm.
course, like bad in the sense there was like the whole virus and people dying and shit. But like I accepted it, like, oh, cool, just take a break from all the hustling and just sit down and focus on the music part of it and just have fun. But 2021 was when it was hard to like keep myself motivated because like, okay, it's
Mm.
been a year. Is this ever gonna end? Am I ever gonna go play live again, or is anything gonna happen from here? But 2020 honestly wasn't as bad for me. I could just sit down and I that's what I love doing, just like having so much time where I can just be alone in my space or with my closest friends and like work on music.
I know that feeling, man. I can totally relate to that. I feel like through the pandemic, I had that thought a lot. I had that thought like, is this ever gonna end? Like, are we ever
Mhm.
going to like get back to normal? Am I ever gonna be able to go to a concert? And now
Exactly.
I feel incredibly lucky every time I'm at a concert for whatever. I go to a lot of live music. I go to shows
Kind of makes
every
you
week.
appreciate it more, doesn't it?
100%. Like I was at a concert last night. I saw last night I saw Still Woozy and Wallace play.
Hmm.
And I was just there and I was like I had a moment in the crowd where I was just thinking, I was like, wow, like I'm so happy I'm here. And it was really, really weird actually, because yesterday I went to that show with two of my friends, and it was that yesterday was 2 years after I saw Thundercat in the
Hmm.
same city a day before everything got shut down. So it was like
Uh,
before the whole entire pandemic just shut down live music. And it was like, wow, 2 years ago, I had no idea that everything was about to change.
Literally, I know that feeling, man. And like even with like playing live, like I played like virtual gigs, a couple of them throughout the whole pandemic. It wasn't fun at all for me, at least,
Yeah.
because once you take the audience side of it, like again, what's the point of playing live if it's not live? And then cut to like the end of 2021, like a year and like a few months after the whole pandemic, and we had like this live thing happen where we had like a bunch of people come in, a bunch of my bands that I'm friends with were also playing the same show, and it was just so much fun. It was just overwhelmingly awesome to see people once again listen to my music. and and getting to play songs that I'd written during the pandemic to them and see if they like it or not.
Was that the first show
So
you played like post pandemic?
yeah.
Was
It was
it? Yeah, I would imagine
awesome.
it'd be like an emotional thing.
Oh, 100%. Everyone was just so into it. As you said, as I said, like it makes you appreciate live music more. So like I was playing live for the first time in a while, and there's people watching live music after like a long ass time. So the vibes
Yeah.
and the energy was insane.
Yeah, I bet, dude. That was. I remember during the pandemic, one thing I did to like keep myself sane was I was like hiking every single day. So I
Mm-hmm.
forced myself to hike every single day, which it was a great decision. I loved it. But I would listen to while I hiked a lot of times. I would listen to this podcast. It's called The Broken Record. It's Rick Rubin's podcast.
Uh-huh.
And
I know that
great
one.
podcast. Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But so I watched one episode he did with Ben Folds, and he was talking to him, and they were talking about like when they think live music will come back. And Rick Rubin said something that's like stuck with me through the whole pandemic. He said like, I don't think there'll be like a moment of like finality. I don't think it's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
like oh like one day shows aren't here and the next day shows are entirely back to normal. And he was like, I think it's gonna be like a very gradual thing. Like we're probably going to have like 20% capacity shows and then like 50% capacity shows with like masks and stuff. But I do feel like despite that, I never really felt like it as soon as it was back, I felt like it was back. Like I think that was because I just missed it so much. I don't care about wearing a mask. I'll wear a mask as long as it means I
Yeah.
can see somebody live. You know what I mean? It's
Uh-huh.
like it's like it
It's
just
gotten
felt it feels like it's back, which I love. It makes me so happy.
it's pretty close to back at this point, honestly. Because last year there were points where like you gotta carry your vaccination card, you gotta have a mask. There's like a certain limit of people allowed in the club or wherever the show's at, and that's how we were going to watch like my friends play live and stuff like that. But nowadays it's like it's almost back to normal. You don't need masks, you don't need vaccination cards or nothing. At least
LA,
here.
I think you guys have. I'm from the Bay. I think you guys have the same COVID restrictions as us. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. So it's pretty much back to normal for us as well,
Yeah.
which is really nice.
Mhm.
I missed it, man. Have you been playing a lot live recently?
No, I'm actually going to India for a few months just to
Oh
take a
wow.
break, meet family. So I've been like busy packing and clearing stuff up here so I can go back and come back here.
How often do you go back?
I haven't been back ever since I moved here. Actually, I went back once,
Wow.
literally the year I came here, but never since then.
Oh wow. That's probably gonna be a
Yeah.
crazy thing to see everybody again.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What is like so when you go back, like what is like how different is the lifestyle in India? I'm entirely like unfamiliar and ignorant in regards to Indian culture, to be frank with you. So like how different is it at least musically there compared to where you live now? Like are there like a tons of people like pursuing music in India or is it like less people? What's it like?
I mean, I haven't been in India in the last like 5 years,
Uh-huh.
but from what I hear, like the independent music scene's like gone pretty big.
Oh wow.
And there are people doing similar kinds of music that I'm trying to pursue here. So I
Hmm.
guess I'll find out once I go back.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm like super not used to India at this point too. Like having
Uh-huh.
stayed here for 5 years, like I don't know what to expect myself.
Yeah, you're like fully LA now.
Yeah, in a way.
Do people listen to like more American music in India?
Oh yeah, a
See,
lot of
that's
them.
that's what is crazy to me about like a lot of other countries. Like lots of other
Mhm.
countries listen to American music, whereas like I feel like in America we're not listening to like tons of international music. I feel like at
Mhm.
least like in the mainstream, which is very interesting. Like I think that's something that like I wish was more prevalent in like American mainstream culture. It was like listening to like
Mhm.
foreign music or music from like other places because I feel like that would allow people to like gain a lot of much needed context into regards to where
Definitely.
the music they listen to actually comes from.
Mhm. I mean, you've seen like a bunch of foreign music kind of make its way into the mainstream
Like
culture because like
reggaeton.
yeah, like reggaeton. There's like the whole African
Yeah.
dancehall vibes. So it's kind of getting there. But again, pop music, English pop music's always gonna rule the world. At least that's what I think.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. I kind of wish it wasn't the case, but I want to ask you about like where the name Flight Club comes from, like just like the name you go by. Like what are the origins of that?
I thought of it back when I was a DJ, so that's why it
Okay.
kind of sounds like a DJ name. But it just means basically anyone who wants to fly, anyone who wants to achieve their dreams should go for it. That's the
Mm.
meaning behind it. It's not
Oh, I
like
love
super
that.
deep or anything, but anyone anyone who basically wants to chase their dreams, fly high, is a part of the Flight Club.
Mm, I love that. It has a lot of like, seems like it has a lot of relevance, like you moving just entirely to a new place and just really like throwing it all out there and saying, I'm gonna do this.
Because that's what I want to tell people. Like, sure, making money is super hard when you're trying to pursue something that's not basically conventional, but the happiness that you get just by hustling and putting everything you've got into it is next level. And I think that's what makes my life worth living for me.
I love that. And I feel like a lot of people act as if like if you're not there yet, if you're not making it, then what's the point? I think that's so
Mhm.
dumb. I think it's all about the journey. It's about you have to love the hustle.
Definitely.
I'm reading an amazing book right now by Stephen Pressfield. It's called The War of Art.
Hmm.
And it's one of the things he talks about in the book is you have to really fall in love with the struggle. You have to fall in love with like
Hmm.
all of the process it takes to get to where you want to go. And I think that's so important as a musician. Like I think that's
Definitely.
incredibly important as a musician. You have to love every moment that it takes to get to where you want to be.
Hmm. Just waking up every day thinking, okay, what can I do today that's gonna put me a slight step closer to where I want to be, and then just going for it.
Yeah. When you like took that leap of faith and kind of moved to LA, was there did your friends and family, people around you, were they like confused? Did they like what was their reaction like?
No, my mom and dad knew I was gonna do music, and that's all I wanted to do again since high school because I didn't even want to finish high school, but I did
Mm,
it because they wanted to. And then once I had done with it, they were like, "Yeah, sure, go pursue it." And so they supported me. My family, for the most part, has supported me. My friends again supported me throughout because it's cool. They want me to come here and make something of myself too, and which is what I want for like everybody in this world. Just have a dream, give it everything, and hopefully you succeed and you'll be happy with it.
that's super awesome. I love that. I think that I see where your name comes from. It very much like
Mhm.
ties in. Um, oh, excuse me. I want to ask you a bit about your cover art. Looking through your streaming services and everything you've done, like all your cover art has a very specific style to it, and
Mhm.
it's all like takes advantage of like extremely bright colors and like almost like a psychedelia type feel to it. Did was the goal to make it all cohesive?
Yeah, so I definitely wanted to go
Oh,
with the
your
whole.
mic's doing it again.
Man.
You're good, dude. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, you're good now.
Awesome. So definitely wanted it to be like illustrated, follow like the whole sort of cartoony, but with a concept behind it, artwork throughout any song that I release. And it's
Mhm.
this dude called Pranay that I found back in India, and he understood my vision
Wow.
behind and my concepts throughout, like for each song, and did it as I wanted it to be done.
Okay, so you really like going for that like specific aesthetic. You want it to all be
Yeah,
consistent.
everything with my song, my artworks, my music videos, my live shows, everything's like interconnected to what I want to portray at each point.
Okay, how does that play into your live show and your live presence?
Just basically from the clothes I wear to how I speak to the audience, what ways I choose to connect with them. It's never like just dancing and shouting unless it's like a huge crowd and the song requires it. I like to like talk to the audience, like understand, make them understand my vision again, and connect with them through my music and see if they like it or how they felt about it, rather than just like playing my song and shouting it out in the mic and seeing people jump and mosh pit. But again, I bring those elements into my songs while I'm playing it, and they get
Mhm.
energetic as it flows. Then from like the lighting that I like in my live shows, I like blue. Purple is my favorite color. I love red, and I love them flashing at some points. And I basically have like this whole vision through each song being different. And then clothes that I wear, clothes that my band wears, the instrument bring on stage, whether it's gonna be electronic for a few songs, there's gonna be actual instruments, mixture of them. So it's different. It just keeps flowing through each element of my music.
It's all calculated. It's all specific
Mhm.
to kind of correspond with a specific aesthetic.
Yeah, there's always intention behind everything that I put out at any point.
I feel like that is an underrated trait to
Mhm,
have as an artist, to make everything that you do consistent, everything a
mhm,
specific vibe, a specific setting, a specific like energy to it. I find that like more and more people are starting to do that, and they're starting to understand how important that is.
mhm. 100%.
Yeah, you really have to have a brand. You have to brand yourself. You have to have an image.
Mhm,
Um, so as somebody that like I know, so kind of speaking on you playing live, and then also like what we were talking about earlier with like your electronic and organic mix of production. Are you somebody that plays with a live band? Because I mean, you are an instrumentalist yourself, and do you feel like in the kind of music you make that like some of it's slanted more towards like a hip hop or a pop type lane?
mhm.
Do you find that like there's a lack of organic instrumentals in those genres, or how do you feel with that?
No, so again, the whole like mixing modern hip hop with my sound is also to cater towards the new audience, give them
Mm-hmm.
music that they do want to listen to rather than just like being super uncontemporary experimental jazz where no one really gives a fuck anyways.
Yeah.
So when I do play live, I kind of transform my songs and make them into a live version of them with like real instruments. So if you go on YouTube and look up my song called "Those American Eyes," that's like my full band setup, where it's like a drum set and electronic drum pads. I have three synthesizers with me. I have a
Wow.
vocoder. I have my guitar. There's a bassist. There's another guitarist, and there's a sitar player. That's like as big as I
Wow.
want my band to get. And
Mm.
then if there's like a rap feature on it, I'll bring the rapper on stage and have him rap over the instrumental that we've made for the live version.
Wow, so you full blow it, like every all the
Yeah,
stops
it
out.
also depends on how big the gig is and how much
Mhm.
that fine is gonna be worth. There's gonna be gigs where I literally just go on with the DJ and do a whole rap concert. There's gonna be like my small band where it's just me, a bassist, a drummer, and a keyboardist. And then there's this whole band setup for like the best shows where I want to like show my 100% best.
Do you play a lot of different size venues, a lot of different size shows?
Yeah, I play like whatever I get my hands on.
Mhm.
Small shows, big shows, medium shows, opening, headlines, whatever. I just love playing live.
That's sick. And I think a lot of people don't understand that like it's really important to take like almost every opportunity you get in a live setting,
Yeah.
because that really is still the best way to build an organic fan base. Like
Mhm.
it's it's weird, because like obviously blowing up on TikTok or blowing up on the internet can and going viral can give you an audience, but it's like still like it still seems that like gigging locally is the best way to build like a local true organic fan base.
And you can see your songs actually connect to real people only when you're playing live. So you're gonna have like people come up to you and say like that one song that you played there made me cry, or that one song made me think of this point in life. And you're like, wow, my music is touching people in some way, even if it's just one person or two people in some way or the other. And you're not gonna get the same reaction while on the internet. Of course, people are gonna be like, I love this song, but like seeing an actual person come up to you and tell them that they cried at one point in this song, and you're like, wow, okay, awesome.
Yeah. It's almost not even comparable to like somebody
Mhm.
DMing you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's a very
exactly.
different thing. Also, just like looking out and seeing people's reactions, I would imagine is like a pretty
Mhm.
crazy feeling.
It's,
Um,
it's the best feeling ever.
yeah, I bet. What if there was like one message you like would want to spread as an artist, like before you're done, like what do you think it would be?
Go for it, literally. Never ever put yourself in a box just because everyone else wants everybody else to. Just go find something you like. It doesn't have to be music or even art. It could literally be like computer science, being an astronaut. When people say I want to be an astronaut, you can be an astronaut. Just go for it. That's the only message I want to put out before I die, is that if you want something and you put everything you've got into it and you do go through with the hustle, you will ultimately achieve it.
Yeah, man, I love that, and I love your story, dude. I love the fact that you took a leap of faith, inspiring, and I think I don't know, I feel like you're a very genuine guy, man. It was great to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on here, dude. This was so much
Yeah,
fun.
of course, bro. Yeah, I thought it was a good conversation. Tell everybody where they can find your music, where they can follow you, etc.
Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Flight Club, FLYGHTCLUB_. And you can find me on YouTube, Spotify, all the streaming services as literally Flight Club, FLYGHTCLUB.
Beautiful. All right, brother. Thank you so much for doing this, man. It was a
Yeah,
great
thanks so much,
conversation.
man. Yeah.
All right, brother. You have a good one. All right.
You too, buddy.
See you. Dude.